WNYC, John Campbell reports his endorsed slate of congressional candidates won their Democratic primaries on Tuesday.
Mayor Mamdani backed 3 Democrats for the House of Representatives, and all 3 won. That includes Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier, a community organizer. She toppled incumbent Adriano Espaillat, the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Former City Comptroller Brad Lander defeated incumbent Dan Goldman. And Claire Valdez, a state lawmaker, won an open seat in Brooklyn and Queens. Their victories marked a major show of strength for the mayor, a significant figure on the political left, and they sent a shock to the Democratic establishment that lined up behind other candidates. Like the mayor, Valdez and Avila Chevalier are members of the Democratic Socialists of America. For NPR News, I'm John Campbell in New York.
WNYC's Bridget Bergen has more from a watch party in Brooklyn.
At a warehouse turned nightclub in Bushwick, Brooklyn, members of the New York City chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America danced, cheered, and pumped their fists, celebrating the victories of Claire Valdez and the entire congressional slate backed by Mamdani and the DSA. Supporters say these wins amount to an affirmation of Mamdani's agenda and the broader Democratic Socialist movement, which is staunchly pro-Palestinian and focused on the needs of working people. For many supporters, their next focus is 2028. For NPR News, I'm Bridget Bergen in New York.
This is your victory. What you all have shown this evening, whether for state assembly, state senate, or Congress, is that a year ago, it was not the end of a political movement. It was the beginning. And I want to thank you because in this room I see those who believed no matter what tweet they read from Michael Lang. They believed. They put that anxiety into shifts. They put it into door knocks, into phone calls. Raise your hand if you canvass. Those are the hands that won this race. And every single one of these incredible candidates, they are going to be the partners in transforming the most expensive city in the United States of America into one that working New Yorkers can afford.
And the outcomes of the races in New York seem to be the talk of the nation right now, particularly because standard Democrats, didn't win. They lost to what they refer to as Democratic Socialists, people who ideologies are more aligned with that of Mayor Mamdani. So I think it was a 5-term elected that lost to a newcomer that was supported by the mayor of New York. So there's definitely some changes in mentality that's happening, at least in New York. Maybe it's going to trend and happen in the country. We'll see, because I believe all of the candidates that the mayor of New York supported were successful in their elections. And there's talk that the people who were lifted by Hakeem Jeffries, that they did not win.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's political influence proved strong in New York's primary election results tonight. All 3 progressive candidates that Mamdani endorsed will win their House primaries, including defeating 2 Democratic incumbents. Educator and immigrant rights activist Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier defeated incumbent Rep. Adriano Espaillat in New York's 13th congressional district.
Over the past 8 months, all of you in this room know how much the Democratic machine has tried to count us out. How at every turn they've underestimated us.
Former New York City Comptroller Brad Lander defeated incumbent Representative Dan Goldman in New York's 10th congressional district.
What a glorious time to be a New Yorker!
And New York State Assembly member Claire Valdez defeated Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso in New York 7. Mamdani, the 34-year-old Democratic Socialist mayor, has been vocal about what he sees as the future of the Democratic Party, citing the slate of progressive candidates he endorsed. Both Valdez and Chevalier are members of the Democratic Socialists of America, known as DSA. Mayor Mamdani made a late move with his endorsement in the race for New York 13, where he chose to back Chevalier over Espaillat. Chevalier has also been a controversial figure in the race for her attendance at a pro-Palestinian rally the day after the October 7th, 2023 attacks in Israel. CNN's K-File reported as well that deleted social media posts disparaging Democratic leaders were also posted.
I see a New York that we can all afford. I see a New York that truly invests in its babies, not bombs.
What's the first thing you're looking forward to doing in Congress?
Well, tomorrow, thank you. I mean, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be back at 26 Federal Plaza doing court watching, and we want to carry that into Congress as well. Every time I saw you, you made me so happy. Hi, Mira.
Today. Yesterday was the beginning of a new, bold, strong Democratic Party. Democrats are winning not just in New York, we're winning across this country, in New Jersey, in Michigan, in Maine. The reality is that our platform of a New Deal for our time is resonating. It's a platform that says no to foreign wars, no to genocide. But it's also a platform that says yes. Yes to Medicare for all. Yes to child care for all. Yes to unions for all. And yes to a tax on billionaires and trillionaires. It turns out that when you stand up for the working class over the Epstein class, over the billionaire class, the American people respond in huge numbers. But we shouldn't be naive. The oligarchs are going to come after us. Yesterday, Elon Musk spent the morning saying that I should be put in jail or he was going to sue me. Why? Because I stood up to him. We have a simple message for these oligarchs. Channeling FDR, we should say to them, bring it on.
This is insane. Does anyone else not think this is an insane world we live in? This is on C-SPAN. Wild stuff.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. There was supposed to be a big signing ceremony today in the Capitol, and then all of a sudden, Donald Trump decides he's not coming to sign the bill. Well, why is that? Did he wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Is he unable to stay awake today? What's causing him to chicken out again? Is it Taco Wednesday? Or is it
he's surrounded by architects trying to find out how to improve the reflecting pool.
Side effects from a drug?
Oh.
We don't know. This erratic behavior of the president is very concerning. He has trouble staying awake at multiple White House events and cabinet meetings. He has clearly some weakness in one of his arms. He's got swelling in his hands. And the White House needs to come clean. What we know is there's a report saying that one person in America got this special new drug. It was a 79-year-old person who was very high profile. And this drug can only be given to someone under the compassionate use provision, meaning you do that if someone basically has a terminal illness.
So Ted Lieu here is saying that he's implying that Donald Trump is receiving a drug not passed by the FDA that no one else is getting that is for someone with terminal illness, and that's why he's got the bruising, and that's why he's not doing that pull thing that he does when he shakes people's hands because he's weak, and he's got the saggy thing happening and all of that. This is an insane accusation to be making from a government official. What does he know?
So we need to know, did Donald Trump get this special drug from Eli Lilly? And did he get it under that provision? And if he did, why is that the case?
This is insane.
Hi, Madonna. Madonna, you look amazing, Madonna. Everybody get up. What are you wearing, Madonna?
Did you see this? Earlier today, Trump was meant to sign a bipartisan housing bill, one that Republicans were excited about, Democrats were excited about it. He canceled the signing. Suddenly, because he got some harebrained idea that he wanted to attach the SAVE Act. He wanted to force a vote on the SAVE Act, which is his election lie grievance bullshit bill that does not have support. It does not have the support. Otherwise, Republicans would have moved it through the House and the Senate. It doesn't have it. So Trump is using housing, an issue that I can tell you, I covered the 2024 election daily for a show called Battleground. Housing came up every single day. Every single swing state had a housing issue. It is a huge reason why Trump got elected. And now he's using it as a political football because of his election lie grievance nonsense. I've long said this. I've said Trump doesn't care about you. I've been trying to sort of prove to his own voters for the past decade, he does not care about you. That's true. But he also really doesn't care about Republican members of Congress, right? Republican members who are up this year, it's a midterm election. They have nothing to go home and brag about. Nothing. They've got a war that no one wanted with a resolution that no one thinks is good. Tariffs have wrecked the economy. Trump's off doing things like ballrooms and reflecting pools and arches and nonsense. He doesn't care. He keeps screwing them over. Like every single day. When are they gonna realize? Like, he doesn't care about you. He hates you. When are you gonna get this? Why are you doing anything for him?
That Republicans want to hurt you. They do. They want to hurt you. If you're a member of the LGBTQI plus community, they want to hurt you. They know. They'll tell you if you'll listen to them.
Constitution, there's no federal law that the Postal Service is authorized to create these types of voter databases, ballot verification systems, or mandatory standards. It just simply doesn't exist. It's hard to interpret a law when it doesn't even exist there, which is what we have. Just because President Trump wants to do this does not make it law, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it constitutional. There's certainly a massive difference between general mail requirements and regulating elections. Routine changes to the postal network can have a small impact on election mail, but this effort is a power grab to swap constitutionally mandated state control for what the president wants. I think it's very clear. So last year, Mr. Steiner, you issued a rule that explicitly said that the Postal Service has, quote, no role in administering elections. What has changed?
I don't think anything has changed. You know, Senator, I'm not a political person, and the Postal Service is not a political organization. We, as you said, I think you quite aptly said, we deliver mail. That's what we do. We deliver mail. And that's what ballots are. Ballots are mail. Now, they are a special kind of mail, obviously. They need special care. And so years ago, we recommended what we call Kit 600. In Kit 600, the fundamental premises of Kit 600 is a unique barcode and a unique envelope. That allows us to move those ballots more efficiently, more securely. That is what our proposed rules suggest, is that we have unique barcode, unique envelope. And that is not something that is new. That's something that's been being used by states throughout the country on both sides of the political spectrum. So California has followed it, Oregon has followed it, Arizona has followed it, Florida has followed it, among many other states. And so, you know, to me, it's not a political question. It's a question of how do we most efficiently and securely move ballots. We've been recommending this for many years. All this does is make it a requirement.
Well, certainly best practices are different than having a mandatory requirement. You could follow best practices to deliver it more efficiently without having control of vast voter rolls and having the ability to have that data. This is basically a backdoor way for the federal government to get voting information that states control under the U.S. Constitution. So yes or no, if a state refuses to turn their absentee voter list over to the federal government, will the Postal Service still mail their ballots under this proposal rule?
Under our proposed regulation, no.
Are being used as part of a much bigger story that this president is trying to play out, where he does not believe elections that he loses are valid elections. The U.S. Postal Service is now part of this bigger story of this president desperate to federalize our elections. He has tried every which way to say that if he and his party don't win in these November elections, they were rigged. He said it in the State of the Union. And now we have this new rule that you've put out saying that states have to turn over their voting rolls, and you, the U.S. Postal Service, will decide, okay, who's approved to send their ballot through the mail. It's just another backdoor way of trying to influence this election. And to show the level of obsession that this president has, he's literally left the leader, Mr. Thune, Senator Thune, on the stage right now and canceled the signing of a housing bill like 8 minutes ago until we pass the SAVE Act, this obsession he has, which will disenfranchise huge number of voters. So he's obsessed with this, and he's pulled in the U.S. Postal Service. I just think it's important to understand, especially since you are a lawyer, not this kind of lawyer, but you are a lawyer, that you are being used as part of a much bigger story that this president is trying to play out, where he does not believe elections that he loses are valid elections. He's willing to do just about anything to show that he's actually a big winner, no matter what he does. And I just ask you, as a professional, as someone who's done serious things in your life, please push back on being a pawn in this authoritarian playbook. The Postal Service is one of the most important institutions in our country. Don't taint it with the obsession of this one man. Please push back.
Sense of the onslaught of criminal investigations and indictments that we are reading about day in and day out. The most recent is Gavin Newsom announcing that there's a criminal investigation by the Department of Justice of his wife and of him. So Gavin Newsom and he and his wife, Letitia James, John Brennan, James Comey, not once but twice, 6 members of Congress, Jerome Powell, Abrego Garcia, ICE protesters who had been prosecuted, and now a new case of them, more people being prosecuted. And then how do you relate that to the J6 protesters and to Donald Trump himself, who was prosecuted twice federally and twice at the state level? Let me tell you how I think about it. I divide it into 3 buckets: the righteous, the frivolous, and the vindictive. So let me give you an example of the righteous. The righteous seems to me to be the John Bolton case. Why do I say it's righteous? Because he himself has admitted that he did it. He passed classified information to people who were not entitled to receive it. But also, it's not just that he did that, it's that the case itself is one that is prosecuted against other people all the time, Republicans and Democrats. In other words, there's nothing that appears to be political about this. So there's nothing selective or vindictive. Okay, let me talk to you about the frivolous category. Now, there are lots to choose from. Let me pick one. 6 members of Congress. The grand jurors refused to indict. That's how you know it's frivolous. Couldn't even meet the low standard of probable cause. That's really low. And what did the members of Congress do? All they did is issue a video consistent with the First Amendment. They didn't call for illegal activity whatsoever. So that's the frivolous bucket. The third bucket is the vindictive or selective prosecution. This is probably the most complicated, because what's going on here is you're not saying that the person did not do what was alleged. They may have committed that crime, but what's happened here is that the case has been brought vindictively or selectively to target that person because they've asserted some sort of right. A perfect example of that is Abrego Garcia. There, the federal judge threw out his criminal case. Remember, Abrego Garcia was extracted from this country, thrown into prison overseas, and when Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi brought him back to this country, they had him face new criminal charges, and the judge said, no. You only brought these charges to punish him for asserting his rights by saying that he was wrongly removed from this country and the case was thrown out. So that is an example of sort of vindictive and selective prosecution. That is where you should really keep your eye out for that going forward.
Now, reports of over 1 million residents of Albania taking to the streets to protest not just Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, and Ivanka Trump, But this has turned into a massive anti-corruption movement. The people of Albania are fed up with the current establishment government in office. And it's no longer just about one Trump resort. It's about a system that has fundamentally failed the residents of Albania, and they are rising up in a way we have not seen in a long, long time. Mind you, this represents nearly a majority of the population in the entire country. Over 1 million people would be a significant protest. Definitely hundreds of thousands of people on the streets. Final tallies obviously won't be confirmed for a while, but it's no longer just about Trump. They're still protesting the Kushners and the Trumps, but now they're protesting the entire government as a whole and turning it into a massive anti-corruption movement. This is real. Spread the word. Follow for more.
Report in the New York Times that J.D. Vance and Pam Bondi were using the Situation Room for months to protect Donald Trump and orchestrate a cover-up of the Epstein files. This after Netanyahu was in the Situation Room to plan an illegal war. I'm tired of the Situation Room being used for illegal and immoral purposes. It's supposed to be there to protect the American people. The New York Times report says that Thomas Massie and my efforts to release the Epstein files has been the biggest liability to Donald Trump since he rode down the escalator. It is what has broken his coalition and soured voters on his leadership. We need to hold the Epstein class accountable, prosecute those who raped and abused underage girls, and hold J.D. Vance and Pam Bondi accountable for the illegal use of the Situation Room.
So much algae appeared in the reflecting pool.
You know what? Let me tell you, doesn't matter if algae or chemical or whatever. You have to compare the president, the condition of the pool, how it looks, and how it's. I mean, I can come down and drink the water if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Let's do that. That'll wake me up.
Let's see what happens here.
So we are headed down to the reflecting pool. This person is going to drink the water. For the record, I do not think the water is safe to drink.
No.
I agree. And I think you might get in some trouble for this, too.
These reporter challenged me. If I could drink the water, can I drink it?
No, don't drink no water.
Yeah.
Don't touch no water.
I don't think it's good for you.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. You know what? Here.
We said you probably shouldn't drink the water.
If they allow me, I'll drink it. I'm not going to vandalize anything.
And don't touch the water, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to touch the water.
I prove to you it's safe to drink. I would do it with their permission. I'll drink it for you.
Nobody wants you to drink the water.
It wouldn't be for us. We're just following you.
You just said you do it, and we would.
You don't seem like you're on my side.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Try to get that right. Let's see. All right. Looks like the mic is working. It's 9:53 a.m. Take Aaron with the thumbs ups. 9:53 a.m. here in the Pacific time zone. We're sitting at a temperature of 95 degrees here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, out here on the Outer Rim, otherwise known as Boulder Highway. Let's see. Like the sign says. Thanks, guys, for being here. Let me see here. Still a little bit off, I think. Whatever. Thanks for being here so much. Thanks for everyone who's being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, hype the show. Let's get us going. Let's get us to 5K. 5K Hennessy Day. Let's get the 5K Hennessy Day. Maybe someday this show will be so big that I won't have to mess with the camera stand thingy all the time. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a proper camera stand. All right, then. Yeah, that poll, that big poll there. Thanks for being here, guys. I did see that Paul Burrows was first. I can't scroll back up to the top again. Where I am starting is where Nick Rich says, surprised me too. I have no idea what Nick Rich is referring to, but something surprised some people. Mr. Spock's here. Hey, Mr. Spock, good to see you. Live long and prosper. Even though I don't have eyebrows, and you are a Fowler. Chock full of nuts, man. It's good shit. I highly recommend it. There's Paul Burrows. It says I did read down and got Chinese. No, I did I did bread. I don't know. I did whatever. He got some Chinese food yesterday. Bottom line is Paul Burrows got some. Oh, breakdown. There you go. Okay. It happens. Hey, I do typos all the time. I do it all the time. So it happens. Let's see. DPD's here. Are you still in England? Are you still in merry old England? The DPD. Are you still in London town? Wherever you're at, I hope you're having a splendid day. Nick Rich says you'd convince me to get a dab while waiting. Hello, Nick Rich. Good to see you. Two shows in a row that you showed up. Thanks so much. Nick Rich, 9:28. So I'm only, what am I? 28 minutes, like 28 minutes or something? I don't know. I'm about 28 minutes behind. Or 27 minutes, whatever. Not as bad as the last show where I was like an hour and a half behind. DBD says Zoran has been receiving lots of hate for his picks. Well, he receives lots of hate for everything that he does from the right, right? And he's getting probably a little bit of hate even from the left, or at least the so-called left. And that's kind of today's show, or at least the title. You know, the show is basically just me reading your guys' chats and going off on that. But you know, I titled the show, you know, about the elections yesterday in basically in New York. There were some other ones too, but the Democratic Socialists of America winning. All three of Mamdani's endorsements won. So it was a big day for Democratic Socialists of America. I think it was a big day for America. I think it's a big day for the Republican Party. And I think that the do-nothing, old establishment, James Carville dinosaurs, these centrist corporate good-for-nothing shills should take heed, and whether other candidates across the country are going to call themselves Democratic Socialists or not, because I suspect you might not be able to do that everywhere. But I think it would behoove the Democratic Party as a whole to take a look at this and finally wake up to the fact that we, the people, this is what we want. We're sick and tired of the Chuck Schumers and the Hakeem Jeffries of the party basically doing jack shit. We want goddamn Medicare for all. God damn it. Shit or get off the fucking pot. This is what we're pissed off about. We're pissed off because we know the Republican Party is totally useless and shit and has none of our interests at heart. It's all about the millionaires and billionaires with the Republican Party. That's all they give a shit about. So we have to vote for the Democrats because they are the lesser of two evils. Because at least with Democrats, we have some shot. We've got maybe a 5% or a 10% shot of getting something. Maybe 50% with a good cycle. We might have 50% of chance of getting something. And when we do get it, it's all watered down like the Affordable Care Act, which should have been Medicare for all. But we were just so happy to get the ACA because it was the first time that we got any big strides in healthcare insurance, and healthcare being provided since 1965. When Johnson got Medicare passed. We're sick of this shit. So yeah, I'm a lifelong Democrat. I've always voted for Democrats because I've known that that's the only chance we've got for the working class people, working class, middle class people, and of course for the poor, the impoverished. We have zero chance with Republicans. Zero of getting anything that we need to make our lives better. To get any type of social safety net and beyond, to get higher wages, to get better jobs, to have better educational opportunities. Our only shot is really, unless some other independent or third party can really, become a big national power, there's really only two choices, Republican and Democrat. That's why I've always voted for Democrats, because at least we had some kind of shot. So now we're seeing people like Mom Donnie be very, very popular. We've seen AOC be very, very popular. So much so that she's probably going to run for president. I don't know if she'll win, but she's probably going to run. And I would vote for her in a heartbeat. We've seen how Bernie Sanders in 2016 ran. And a lot of people didn't even know who Bernie Sanders was, even though he had been in the Senate for decades at that point. They liked his message. People, the American people like and want and need these programs to better our lives, to better our country, to make it a good country, to not be a shithole country, Trump. Speaking of Medicare, I finally remember. I know you guys have been telling me to apply for things and do things, and so I finally, I applied a few weeks ago, and then I received a notice the other day to call They gave me a number to call. To do my like an over the phone interview about getting some of these assistants, and it was really easy. And I should have done. I've gone through this process of applying and having them send me a phone number to call and a date and time to call for the last couple of years, and I've always missed it. And yesterday, I almost missed it because it says call back at 9 a.m. I actually called. It was almost 9:30 because I completely forgot. But anyhow, I called. I was able to get through. I did my over the phone interview, and she, right there on the spot, said I'm eligible to receive SNAP and to have my Medicare Part B, I guess it is, paid for, which is like over $200 a month. And so Medicaid will pay for that. And so I got approved. So my Medicaid will be paid. She said it might take a few 2 or 3 months because it's every month that you get paid. She said it might take 2 or 3 months for that before I see that. But she said I'll get paid back for that. So, whatever they charge me, I guess starting from now, I'll get paid for it. So I'm gonna get that. That'll be cool. So that's gonna save me another $200 a month. Getting the storage, everything out of the storage, that saves me over $200. So I've automatically got a $400 extra money. Look out! Look out, you hookers on Boulder. I can't even say it. Boulder Highway hookers, look out! I got $400. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. They're not that expensive. No. So anyhow, and my SNAP benefits. Here's what I get though. Here's what I qualify for is $42 a month. But hey, like they say, every little bit helps. And Nick Rich, money for the new EV. Yeah, I've been posting videos for that Slate. If you guys saw that, check out the Slate, man. It looks pretty cool. Starting off at $24,950 for a brand new EV pickup truck. So check out my videos. But so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I get $42 a month. But hey, that's about a week and a half's worth of like milk and bread and eggs and orange juice and probably a couple other things. So it all helps. It all helps. So I'm gonna get that. Actually, I'm eligible, I guess, right now but I don't have a card. So she said they'll mail me a card. It'll take 7 to 10 days to get my EBT card. Or she said I could have went and picked one up, but I just told them to mail it to me because since I don't have a car and everything, I could pick one. They have offices all over. But anyhow, so I'll be getting that EBT card. $42 a month. Now, it is kind of scary though, like with all these cuts, Medicaid cuts and SNAP cuts. We'll see how long it lasts. I don't know. Come on, all my fellow senior citizens, stop voting for Republicans. You're sabotaging yourself. All the old people like me who are relying on Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and SNAP and whatever else there is, stop voting for Republicans. They're the ones that are going to take away your fucking benefits. Stop doing it, you stupid old fucks. Anyhow, so now on the last show, I did about 3 hours of reading my Little League baseball stats. So today, on today's show, I'm going to spend the next 3 hours reading all of my football stats. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm not going to put you through that. But I did find some kind of cool stuff. Some more stuff. Now, you guys know, right, that in the year 2001, Tim Burton made a new version, his version, I guess, because they called it a reimagining of Planet of the Apes, right? You guys remember that? And you guys have always asked me, did you save anything or whatever? There's got to be a better system of getting these pictures, though. Okay, so here we go. So there's me in costume, John Fowler, Red Ape Soldier. Very grainy picture. But at the end of the shoot, they gave us these hoodies, and I mean it's just a hoodie. It's no big deal, but it was free, and they actually put the Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes logo. I wasn't sure if you could hear me from back here. Yeah, it's the Planet of the Apes logo. So I got that. I don't think it fits me anymore. I'm literally at least 70 or 80 pounds heavier now than I was doing that. And then also, now I used to have, well, I haven't even opened this up, but remember I told you that I saved or I kept or stole. I think statute of limitations are up for this, so I think I can show you this. But they made these gorilla feet. These are the gorilla feet. Or here's one. All right, I got both. And these are that's the top. And here's the bottom. These little gorilla feet. What these are basically like those, kind of like these river shoes or whatever you call them. You know, they're pretty cool. It says 725. They probably assigned me a number because every day you would hand in your costume, and then when you came back the next morning, you would give them your driver's license. They learned that because people were stealing the masks. But anyhow, so I did at the end of the shoot. I was like, I'm gonna take something. They won't care. They probably just trashed all these anyhow, you know. So I got these gorilla feet. I don't know if that's the size. Size 11, maybe? I don't know. And then now let's see. Oh, and there's like these here, but you would put them on. These are kind of like finger gloves. I don't know if I can put them on or not. Or it's not really a glove, but your thumb fits through here. It's just basically, I guess, to cover your wrist up so you don't see any human skin. I can't even put my hand in it. My hand just gained weight also, apparently. I don't know. So there's that. Here's some, here's this. This is like, kind of like a beard, I guess, but it's supposed to be like your hairy gorilla chest. So I think we would put this on. Just so that if there was anything around the neck, it would cover your neck. So you don't see any human. I don't know. So this would kind of go around your neck. You know. And then there was a mask. Now I bought a mask at the the costume store. This is not the mask. So here's the other hand. like this thing goes on your wrist, kind of like thing that you wear. Oh, here's some fingers. Oh, here. Oh, yeah. So you put these gloves on. Let's see. There's this one. Oh, yeah. So got these like gorilla fingers. I don't know if the thumb came off. Oh, I think this one. No. Well, apparently, maybe the gorillas have opposable thumbs. That's the thing about that, I guess. But anyhow, I don't have the original mask. The mask that they made, they were just pullover. It was a pullover mask, unless you were a really like what they would call a featured background, where you were really up close to the camera. They had a few of those. Some of the stunt guys that were part of the stunt team, they had masks that had to be applied, you know. But we all got these pullover masks. So, but I saw this one at, the costume stores that they have for like Halloween. And this was a pretty good one. I mean, it was pretty close. I mean, not really anywhere as good as the real one, but I bought this mask. This is, I guess, a General Thade. That's who Michael Clark Duncan. Oh shoot, the top of it is ripped open. Oh shoot, look at that. I don't know if you can see. I don't want to spread it open. The top is kind of, see that it's ripping open. I haven't taken this out of the bag, and I haven't, in probably 20 years. It's been sitting in this bag for 20 years. Shoot, it's kind of coming apart. I'm afraid to put it on. I'm going to put it on, but I can see where, like in the back here, you can see holes and stuff. I'm really kind of afraid to although this is not real. This is just from the costume store, the Halloween store. But these are actually from the movie. These hands and those feet were actually from the movie. Let's see, how does it look in there? No, I don't think there's any bugs. I had it zipped up in this this bag here, and I think it did a pretty good job of like keeping bugs out. I don't see any evidence of bugs. So, okay, I'm going to try to hide myself for a second. I'm going to try not to rip the mask apart. It might not even fit over my big fat head, so I don't know. Shoot. Oh, I guess I should take my glasses off. Oh. Actually, it fits pretty good. Oh, wow. Kind of stinks. Can you guys hear me? It kind of, yeah. I'm the Red Ape Soldier. Yeah. Ape good, human bad. Human bad. Anyhow, so this is like I said, this is not the mask from the movie. I bought this at the costume Halloween store, but but these are real. And these feet, and these little wrist things, on the feet. Oh, it's getting kind of hot in here. I know you guys would love me to do the entire show with the mask on. I know it's a vast improvement, looks wise, but it's getting a little steamy in here. I gotta tell you, it's just like if you see in the picture here, that was layers. That was like 3 or 4 layers of various articles that you had to put on. There was like a bodysuit, and then there was like these styrofoam, or I don't know if it's styrofoam, these kind of foamy kind of muscle things you put on, and then you put the outer layers on and everything. And when it was 70 degrees out, because we were filming in the desert in January and February, and some days it'd be nice 70 degrees out. Not nice if you weren't wearing the uniform. It would feel like 100 degrees. And then we had some really cold days. We actually had snow flurries out there a few times. And so the temperature would be, 30, 40 degrees, probably, in the 40s or whatever. And it felt great if you were in an ape suit. It was wonderful. But the poor humans who were out there, they were practically naked. And those are the days they were freezing their asses off. And in between takes, there was a big pile of their coats, and they would run to their jackets and put them on real quick. And then, because there's always, between takes, there's always like, okay, they got to reset the shot. Sometimes it would take 5-10 minutes or longer to reset the shot. So they would run over and grab their coats. But we're in our gorilla outfits, and we're just like, doo-doo-doo-doo. We're like, yeah, feels great out. Feels great to me. But then when it was 70 degrees, they were loving it because it was very nice, sunny, blue skies. They're basically lounging around in their bathing suits. And then we were just fucking hating life. Anyhow, I'm hating life right now. So anyhow, that's it for now. Get your hands off me, damn human, or something like that. All right. See if I can take this mask off without ruining it. Ugh. Woo wee. Oh, I'm sweaty. I got a little sweaty. I got a little sweaty in there. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta take my this was making me more hot than anything, probably. Was the old gorilla fur. So that's it. That was my thing for that. I found basically that's all I have from Planet of the Apes is the hoodie and the feet and the hands. The mask is not from the movie, but that at the Halloween store, it says the movie had just come out or was coming out. I guess I probably bought that whatever, like a year or two after the movie came out, I guess. And I saw it, and I was like, I got to get that mask, Damon Dog, Gorilla John is cool. So that was that. Now I did come across something else. If you guys are interested, I've done some journalism. I've always been kind of a good writer, even in school, even in all the way from like elementary school to college courses. I've always been pretty decent writer, I guess. I've gotten good grades for whenever I had to write something. And then it was around 1997, I decided to go back to school because I had my AA degree, but I didn't have my BA. And I thought I would go back and try to get my my BA. And so I was taking some courses at the local community college that were transferable. They would be transferable to my because they did have a satellite campus on our at Antelope Valley College was the JC, and they did have I think a couple of satellite campuses were like one was Cal State Bakersfield and one was another school, and so anyhow I was just taking some courses and I was going to get those out of the way and then transfer to one of the 4-year schools, and then, so I took this journalism class. It was taught by Dennis Anderson, who was a real life news reporter. He was the Associated Press at the time. He was the Associated Press Los Angeles bureau chief, and he was teaching this course because he lived out in the area there in Antelope Valley, and he was teaching this course on journalism, on newspaper writing and stuff like that. And he also, what he would do is he would kind of recruit students out of that class to go on the school newspaper. And he would take us, and the school newspaper was right adjoining our classroom. And so he took us in there and showed us the newsroom and introduced us to the staff writers there that were currently there. And he said, yeah, so if anyone's interested in becoming a writer for the school newspaper, let me know. So I did, because I was very much interested. And I became basically a sports writer. I was on the sports department, but it was basically just me and Nikki Fuqua. We were the two-man, well, she was a gal. We were the 2-person team for the sports department. But one day there was I'd seen a notice posted on the school ground somewhere on a bulletin board that former Surgeon General Jocelyn Elders was going to be appearing for her book tour up in Bakersfield at Cal State Bakersfield. So I thought, that would be interesting to cover that. And I think it was the last minute. I didn't get I didn't go to my the editors and say, hey, can I do this? I just went there and did it on my own, because it was like, I think it was a Friday or something, and there was no time to do that. So I just went there and did it on my own. The baby mama, if you guys saw my Father's Day videos, the baby mama was there. She went with me. She was pregnant, I believe, with our son at the time. So this would be like 1997. We drove up to Bakersfield, watched her do her speech, or whatever you call it, and I had a little tape recorder with me, and I recorded it. Afterwards, I had my press badge. I was able to go back. They had a little side area for press, and I was able to actually go and ask her some questions. And I wrote this article, and it was a pretty good article. And then I came back. I gave it to the editor. I said, hey, look, I went up and covered this event. Here's the story. If you guys want to, if you want to use it or not, it's up, it's up to you. She read it and she goes, oh yeah, we're definitely using this. And I even took some pictures, a couple pictures. Actually, my ex is the one who took the pictures. And so they published that article in the school paper, Antelope Valley College, and then I just sort of forgot about it. And then I guess months later, I was told by our you know, they have to have an administrator for all these things. So the administrator was Dennis Anderson. And he said, hey, I have an announcement to make. The Journalism Association of California, they had their award ceremony, and we just found out that we had 3 winners, or I think just 3. We had three winners, 3 first place winners. And he said the other 2, you know, one was for a political cartoonist, got an award. The other gal, she got hers for I forget what it was. And then I got first place news story. And so I found my plaque. Look at there. So just in case there's any doubters, there it is. Journalism Association of Community Colleges, 25th annual. I don't know. I'm trying to read it. Anyhow, first place news story, John Fowler. That would be me. Antelope Valley College, 1997. Found my plaque. I should hang it up. Could I hang it up back here? I don't know if it would show very good with the green screen, but yeah, I could put it right here, maybe. I should put that there. Here's the press release that was issued. It says a student journalist from Antelope Valley College won the top news writing award from the Journalism Association of Community Colleges. John Fowler, otherwise known as Trucker John, nowadays, won first place news story award at the JACC's most recent Southern California Regional Conference, held October 4th. Ooh, that was the day after my birthday, at Cal State University, Fullerton. Wow. It says 2 other students were won honors at the JACC competition. It was Arian Brooks. She won honorable mention. She didn't get first place for her critical reviews, a series of film reviews, and Everardo Gonzalez won honorable. So they only got honorable mention. I won first place, but they got honorable mention. He got it for a cartoon. He was a cartoonist for his editorial cartoon about President Clinton's relationship with Congress. It says Fowler, a mail processing clerk with the Postal Service, since I was still with the Postal Service then, won his news writing award for an account published in the spring edition of the Crusader, that was the school newspaper, a report on a speech delivered by Jocelyn Elders, former Surgeon General in the Clinton administration. Fowler plans to continue taking journalism and communications courses to transfer to Cal State University Northridge. Oh, I guess I was thinking about CSUN. Yeah, so I guess it wasn't Bakersfield. It was that I was thinking about transferring to. Because I think they did, maybe CSUN was the other school that I couldn't remember that had the satellite campus. Because I think I wasn't going to I might have commuted to Northridge. Anyhow, here's a quote. When I was first notified about it, I was pretty much beside myself. I was trying to figure out which article I submitted, Fowler said. My emotions were mixed with excitement and disbelief. You don't think you're going to win that one, meaning first place news story. You'd like to, but when you do, it's total shock. This helps me focus on what I want to do at CSUN, to pursue a journalism or communications degree. End quote. That was me. I'm reading my own quote. It was the first time Antelope Valley College won a first place in the news writing category, noted Dennis Anderson, advisor for the Crusader. We've won awards for photography, for page design, for features, and in-depth reporting, but writing the top award is in news writing is one of those Oscar caliber triumphs that makes you feel like the work is worth doing. Close quote. It says more than 24 community colleges and hundreds of student journalists competed in JACC, Southern California regional competition. The organization is the statewide association that sponsors competition and scholarships for students pursuing communication studies. So there's that. That's the press release. Now, all I could find was my string book. I have a string book is basically a book you put together where you put a bunch of articles in. And I know I have another copy of the actual article, but I have this one in my string book. It's in a plastic protector, so I don't know if the glare is going to get it. But anyhow, here's my article. Yay me. Yay me. All right, I know this stuff is boring to you guys. Here's some other articles. I did a lot of baseball stuff. Oh, here's I guess here's one that's without the plastic cover. I don't know. But that's it right there. I'm not sure. Did I get the whole thing on here? This might not even be the whole thing. So that's my string book, or that's my article, and my award, and my press release. All that good stuff. All right, so I'm not going to do any more stuff about me. I've been looking through all my stuff, looking through my old photo albums, and it's kind of sad because a lot of the pictures in the photo albums I have are like fading. There's some I can't even tell what it is of anymore. You know? Okay, let me take down the gorilla. I do have a meme. We've been talking a lot about the swamp, the reflecting pool, and how Trump has turned it into a swamp. And it is a pretty good metaphor for how I think Trump just kind of ruins everything. He ruins everything. He's ruining our country. He makes everything worse. He really does. And now the solution is just go ahead and put a fence around it. I'm not sure if that's AI or if they actually put a fence around it, but I heard they were going to put a fence around it. So I don't know. Who knows? It's hard to tell these days what's real and what's not real and everything. So there, we'll put that up for a while. The reflecting pool was fine. I mean, yeah, it maybe had some issues. I know Obama put a lot of money into it using economic stimulus funds. They put in about $35 million, and they had to redo the entire filtration system and pumping system, and they did a lot to save it. And it might not have been perfect. There was still some algae, but it's not going to be completely algae free. It was fine the way it was. And then Trump had to go and make it 10 times or 100 times worse or 1,000 times worse. Just like the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action that the Obama administration had worked on for 18 months with other countries. That's why it was joint. They hammered out a pretty good deal to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon. It was working very well. Thank you very much. Didn't have to go to war. Didn't have to kill schoolgirls. Didn't have to have any of our own personnel killed. It was working pretty well. And then Trump has to tear that up and make it worse. Everything he does, he makes worse. Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. Hello, Big Hook. Good to see you. Jolie is here, and Aaron is here. I believe are Jolie and Aaron still here? Because those were probably from an hour ago. Those tweets, or those not tweets, those posts. Steve Sayers is here. Steve, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Nola Carnes is here. I People Yesterday is here. Steiner is a liar. Kind of rhymes. Bit of a rhyme there. Now, I know that, we've talked about this. You guys have brought this up earlier in earlier shows, previous shows, about how, Trump is going to use the Postal Service, or the Postal Service is not going to deliver ballots from states that don't hand over their voter rolls. And it's not that I disagreed with you guys that he was going to try that, but my argument was this is a pretty big ask, and that it's not. It might be harder than one might think for the Postal Service to just not deliver mail. But as you saw in that clip, the Postmaster General very clearly said that they will not deliver mail if they don't hand over the voter rolls. That's concerning. I believe that's illegal. I believe that's unconstitutional. I believe he should immediately be removed from his position as Postmaster General. I believe the Board of Governors should remove him immediately, because he's come out and said that they're not going to deliver mail, which they are required to do. But of course, Steiner is Trump's, that's the guy he wanted, and that's the guy they gave him. So I don't really see the Board of Governors going against him now. So this is going to be challenged, but what's it going to do to the court? What's it going to do to our election day? But so this is concerning, and this is definitely something we need to stay on top of and make sure that we voice our opinions, like the people in Albania. Did you see that? That was amazing. All those people. That's what we need to do. If our votes aren't going to get counted, that's what we need to do. We need to hit the streets just like they did in Albania. Just skipping down here a little bit in the chat. Yeah, DPD says America needs to take some notes from Albania. It's funny, I just said that basically, and now I'm reading your post there. Exactly. We need to take some notes from Albania. Mr. Spock says, Bright Eyes is listening on my lap. Big Hook says, telling the truth is not divisional. If all you do is watch phone news and listen to lying Republicans and Trump, then of course you are divisional because you have been easily manipulated. Damon Dog, the big dog, is here. Hey, Damon Dog, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. I'll popping on in to the driver. I'm skipping down and I'm already needle dropping. Big Hook says, hey, big dog. Brooklyn, SJUK, Trixie LaRue. Is here? Hey, Brooklyn, good to see you. Brooklyn in the house. Good to see you there. Damon Dog says it's 82, partly sunny in North Carolina. Good old North Carolina. Big Hook says, enjoyed your Father's Day share. Glad you are finally rid of the storage locker fiasco. Oh, it's such a huge relief, Big Hook. Such a huge relief. And I owe that to my ex and my daughter for getting that stuff out for me. They moved it out, and such a huge relief. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. Darkly Yours says, blah, bleep, bloop. Good to see you. Hello, Darkly Yours. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. All I ever Woke Mike is here. Sup, Woke Mike. Sup. Big Hook says, check that you have all your documents ready for the vote and make sure that gerrymandering hasn't changed your district. You have a chance to save what's left of democracy and return sanity to DC. Yeah. And if you're in a blue state, I don't know, I feel like I got dust all over me from that mask. If you're in a blue state, keep on your governor, your state AG, your local representatives. Make sure that your vote's going to count. We need to make sure our votes are. And I'm in, I guess, more of a purple state. We have a Republican governor. It's kind of weird. We have a Republican governor, but we have 2 Democratic senators, and 4 out of our 5 House reps are Democrats. But we have a Republican piece of shit MAGA governor. So yeah, we all have to stay on top of these things. Make sure our votes get counted. Big Hook, that's why universal health care is best. It's taken from your taxes, and you never see a bill except for medications, which could also be covered or subsidized. WW says Bernie is a bitch. He didn't help Hillary soon enough in 2016. He just pouted that Dems cheated him. Well, whatever, dude. But my point is that his campaign resonated with a lot of people, and he kind of came out of the blue. And I think it's because of people like Bernie. Whether you're talking about him bitching and pouting, but I think the fact remains that the popularity of Bernie Sanders moved Hillary further to the left, and then subsequently, because he ran again in 2020 and was still very popular, I think that moved Joe Biden to the left. That's kind of my point. I think that's what AOC is doing. I think that's what Mondami is doing. I think going 3 for 3 with these Democratic Socialist candidates winning their primaries I'm hoping it will help move the Democratic Party as a whole more to the left. And by left, it really isn't left. It really is these things like Medicare for all. That's something that I think overwhelming majority of Democrats want. So it's not to say it's left or leftist or extreme. It's not. It's more mainstream than a lot of people want to admit for some reason. You know what I mean? Aaron West says nice. I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe the sweatshirt. Because you guys saying it's cool. I'm just trying to figure out where. I'm reading the chat. I'm trying to figure out where we were at. That's probably with the about getting Snap. Okay, because Brooklyn says wow Snap. It was cool. I got Snap, and I got my Medicare Part B being covered by Medicaid. That is cool. Nola Carter says I'm a doobie-crat on the weekends unless my sister comes. She makes me that way. DPD says yes, I am. Because I was asking if DPD was still in England. DPD says yes, I am. TJ, I had a splendid morning. Are you going to come back home with an English accent? I bet you will. I had a splendid morning. I had a blueberry cheesecake pancake at the Fua Fua Cafe. Fua Fua. Yeah. It does sound rather splendid. I hope you're having a great time. Go see Abbey Road or whatever. Go see everything. WW saves you money. Cook at home and make your own coffee. That's what I do. So what the fuck? WW, I vote the way I feel is best. If you're voting for Republicans, then you're dumb. If you're voting for Republicans and you're expecting to get anything in return for it, then you're an idiot. Unless you're a billionaire. And I don't think you are. Big Hook says, TJ, asking brainwashed zombie Republican voters to vote Democrat is impossible. Stupid is as stupid does. Darwin Awards candidates, all of them. WW, I haven't voted to send a Republican to Washington in a long time. Whew, okay, so you're not so stupid after all. Big Hook says, is this going to be another show and tell edition? Probably. Well, I think I'm done with my show and tell for now. For now, I don't know. That's all I had. That's all I got with me. So hopefully you survived it. Hopefully you got through it. Darkly Yours says, just gave my grandma her insulin shot. She's 88. I paid $250 for insulin. F those Republicans. And didn't Biden have it down to like $50 or something? A nut protector. Yeah, that's what that was. Yeah, the nut protector. Yeah, Trump should have one of those. DPD says, TJ, have you ever thought about wearing the feet? The next time someone knocks on your door, you can include the fingers as well. No, I have never thought of it. That thing has been in a box for 20 years. I just got it. So, I'm just skipping down a little bit here, try to get caught up. Jolie was laughing. I don't know if it's because of the gorilla thing. Maybe because of the gorilla stuff. Maybe, I don't know. Again, these are. I'm reading posts from probably like a half an hour ago, so I'm trying to figure out where we were at. David Dog says Gorilla John is cool. David Dog says, today I'm making my egg flour soup with baby bok choy. Carb free, very low calorie. I've seen some of your little cooking videos there, Damon Dog, and it looks very delicious, the food you're making. Very, very delicious. Okay, I'm just skipping down. Lots of talk about insulin. I know that's a big one. See, these are the type of healthcare things that we need them to be covered just by 100%. We can't afford this shit. It's such a it makes you, whatever health issues you're going through, if you are going also having like financial stress on top of that, it's makes everything worse. Jolie says that's awesome. I think I think I might have been doing the gorilla stuff then, or maybe it was the because Michelle says congratulations. Maybe we were at the my writing thing there. My writing award. Sorry about that. I got a little bit of something going on. Nasally. Nick Rich, I was looking through some old junk, found report cards from the 70s. Oh, I found a bunch of my high school grades. I had some pretty good grades, but then I had some pretty bad ones too. Of course, all my English and journalism, my British lit, all that was A's. Nick Rich says, make algae great again. They are planning on putting up a fence. So I have the picture here with the fence. I guess that's real, or not. I don't know. Damon said, "Dog says all he needed to do is add fish, about 1,000 koi." Big Hook says that idiot drove the beast on it to inspect the work and cause the damage himself. Yeah, I saw that picture of them driving the beast and a whole line of of those black SUVs. And at first I was like, "Is that AI? Did they really do that?" But Gavin Newsom posted it and said, "Yeah, maybe this was the cause. You fucking idiot!" Just like Big Hook says, "You fucking idiot." Jolie says, "Yes, we are full ball capacity." Oh, yeah. I hate to do the full mod capacity thing if I'm a half hour behind, because then I'm not sure if we're still at full mod capacity or not. WW has still got a little green. There was no need for. Trump was just trying to make himself look good, trying to make himself look better than Obama. He does that kind of shit instead of doing something that really is beneficial. He'll never do anything that's really beneficial to the people. He only does things that he thinks is going to make him look better. All this superficial shit. That's all Donald Trump is all about. It's just superficial shit that really doesn't amount to or mean anything meaningful. Big Hook says 10:40, so I'm about 15 minutes behind. I'm 15 minutes behind. No, I'm 15 minutes behind. I am skipping down, needle dropping a little bit here. Tommy Numbali, something like that, is in a red state. Hello, Tommy. By the way, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on in. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hype. It'd be great if you could do that. We're currently at about 4,500 subscribers. I appreciate that. Let's keep it going. We're trying to get to 5K. 5K Hennessy Day. DPD, no TJ. I'll let my husband keep his accent, though. Oh, your husband has the accent, huh? He's from England, is he? Well, I guess if his accent hasn't rubbed off on you yet, then you'll never get it. Someone just walked by my window. Big Hook says it's easy to fix the balanced budget, tax billionaires appropriately and get around their borrowing against stock, and impose a wealth tax the billionaires and millionaire welfare queens need to pay. I agree. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. DPD was a $20 super chat. Yippee! Thank you so much, DPD. Boy, a big long super chat here says Tonoa Nicole Miller, a 27-year-old black woman who traveled to Miami for the Juneteenth celebration, was lynched in Gwynn Cherry Park in Gladeview, Florida on June 18th. Her death has been ruled a suicide. Strange fucking fruit. That's what they always do. They rule it a suicide. Thank you for that. Thank you, DPD, for the super chat. I appreciate it so much. That's what they always do. And then who was it that was talking about lynching in America? It might have been one of those Dean Wither type of debates or something. I forget. Somebody said that there hasn't been any lynchings in decades or a century or something like that, but that doesn't happen anymore. And I'm like, bullshit, it doesn't happen anymore. We just had one. Remember, it was a couple of years ago. It was a black kid they found hanged. His arms were broken and his legs were broken, and they ruled it a suicide. That's why maybe there aren't any lynchings, because the authorities will just rule it a suicide. That is incredibly sad, DPD, and horrible. And yes, we do still have these things going on. Darkly Yours says double the tax on property investors and don't allow foreign property ownership. WW says I would sell my big house if I had somewhere else I wanted to go. If you're happy where you're at, just if you're happy where you're at, just stay there. If you're happy where you're at, just stay there. If you're happy where you're at, just stay there. If you're not happy where you're at, then don't. People yesterday says property taxes are supposed to fund the commons in the community you live in. Yeah, that's true. They're supposed to go to schools and to public infrastructure and to libraries and, things that benefit the community. You're absolutely right. WW says, I could see taxing investment income the same as any other income if you could also claim investment losses. Can't you? You can't claim losses? Darkly Yours, I'm just talking about people having a place to live. It doesn't seem right to be kicked off. Oh, I must have skipped something. Maybe that was why people yesterday made that comment about taxes, property taxes. I do think that, and it says it doesn't seem right to be kicked off your only homeland because of taxation. And I agree, and especially as we get older and people are living on fixed incomes, and they might even live in a house that's completely paid for, but they can't afford the property taxes. There definitely should be some provision for that. That old people that are retired and living on fixed incomes should not lose their homes because they can't afford the taxes. There definitely needs to be some sort of carve out for that. Absolutely. MJ Daniel, in the voice of Bruce Willis, come out to DC, see the swamp, we'll get together, have a few laughs. That's a good one. So I'm just now getting to DPD's $20 super chat. Thank you so much. We're 1 out of 5. We're 1 for 5 on the goals today. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Celebrate good times. Come on. Yeah, WW is asking a stupid question. Was she all alone at the celebration? And then DBD says she was murdered. So fuck off, man. I added the fuck off part. Big Hook says that Dean Withers debate against 20 MAGA women was insane. Absolutely. And I didn't get a copyright strike for that because I did play that part of some of those clips on the intro from Tuesday. And what happens is they tend not to give you strikes, but what they'll do is they'll make it where you're not able to monetize it, and whatever 5 cents that intro might make it's going to go to the people who have claims on the material. And those Dean Wither clips got claimed. I don't know how to put it, but and it says who the claimant is, like who owns those clips, and it said something about LDS. Unless this is a different LDS. LDS stands for Latter-day Saints, which is the Mormons. And I think that those clips were from Jubilee. I think Jubilee is a channel, I guess, an online social media channel, Jubilee. I'm just, surmising that that's a LDS owned platform. So that should tell you everything that you need to know about Jubilee. I'll just leave that there for you. Big Hook says Trump claims losses and pays $750 per year. Darkly Yours says I have a church next door that pays no taxes and only their family attends. Yeah, that's a scam. That I would say that's a red flag that deserves to be under heavy scrutiny by the IRS. Let's just put it that way. DPD says, I'll tell you something else. I have learned here, and the British are asking, when will America rise up? I think they understand the assignment. That's pretty rich coming from the Brits who allowed Vladimir Putin to, to use his disinformation campaigns to get them to get out of the EU. So Britain's no better than us in that regard. I People yesterday says seniors on a fixed income get a tax break on property taxes in my county. We are close, but not quite there. Yeah, there needs to be breaks, I think. Like I said, seniors should not be losing their properties. It's quite different than, of course, like Elon Musk not wanting to pay property taxes. I mean, he very well can afford it. There should be some exceptions. Nick Rich, TJ has caught up. Yeah, I skipped down a lot. I always feel bad if I skip down too much, and then it's like I'm the dog that caught the tailpipe. Big Hook. Yeah, the LDS is a racket. They are a racket. They are worth the Mormon Church is worth billions and billions of dollars. I used to be a part of that. I used to be one of the collectors. I felt like I was like 16, I think, and I would go out with an elder, and we would go out on, I think it was Tithing Sunday, or something like that, and we would go after church. We would go out. We had a list of houses of people living in these houses that hadn't paid their tithing. Can you imagine that? Most people, you go to church, they pass the basket, you put a couple bucks in there or whatever you want, If you want to donate more, you can write them a check. It's all voluntary. The Mormon Church doesn't believe in that voluntary bullshit. They have everyone on a list. And they keep track of that. And they know when you paid, how much you paid, how long it's been since you paid. You're tithing. And if you don't pay, they'll send guys to your door. And they won't do it, if they don't have it, they don't have it. But it is kind of intimidating. And I remember seeing quite a few people going to people who lived in trailers at old, mobile home parks. Nothing wrong with that, but obviously not incredibly wealthy. Probably living paycheck to paycheck. Probably just barely making enough to pay for their space rent. And we're knocking on their door saying, oh, yeah, we noticed you hadn't paid tithing for a while, so we thought we'd come out and just see if you could pay that today. And they would go, just a minute. And they would go and they're looking around for some money. They're getting, looking in their cookie jars or whatever. I don't know. They would come back and go, well, this is all I got. And we're like, okay. We stick it in the envelope, check them off. Yeah, it's a fucking racket. Hey, Jolie reminds everyone that we have channel memberships and super chats. The channel memberships start as low as $1.99, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to become a member, that would be awesome. The memberships are really the lifeline, the lifeblood. I don't know. It keeps this channel going. And we got 50 or 60 members, and I appreciate every single one of you. And they start off as low as $1.99. So if you want to check out a membership, that'd be great. We got the super chat goal going. We got 1 for 5 so far today. You can also help me with, if you want to help support the show, by going to Buy Me a Coffee, and you can donate there, or to PayPal. PayPal is really cool because unlike YouTube or Google, that takes about a third out, PayPal, I think they do take a small, like 1% or 2% or whatever. They take a small little fee, but it's instant. With Google, like I said before, they pay out once a month. So but still, I'm willing to whatever works for you guys. If you guys can help out with the show, help out the donos, as some people call it, that's great. And if you can't do that, man, just liking, subscribing, sharing, hyping, commenting, all of those are great ways to help this show to grow and keep going. And I appreciate all of the ways of support that I get. Every single one. Every single one of you. All 25 people watching right now, I appreciate you so much. And I do appreciate the fact that we are operating like good Democrats, because we are operating with a bit of a surplus on the thumbs ups. We have 25 watching and 32 thumbs ups. So I appreciate that, getting that surplus. Big Hook says Brexit was a Russian operation. That's why I mentioned Putin. 10 years later, Britain is really worse off. They need to rejoin the EU. I agree. Mr. Spock says they should set up a water skiing cable for the reflecting pool. Be fun to get to the other side quickly. And that might help stir things up, so the algae doesn't just coagulate or whatever. Big Good, did you get your own pair of magic underwear? I did not. I never did I got out of the church, but I remember looking in catalogs. I remember my parents never did either. They never got it, as far as I know. But I remember, they have these elders that they come and visit you, whether it's for tithing or whether it's for just, they want you to make sure you go to church. They want to make sure that you're buying shit. They have like these catalogs, these Mormon catalogs. And I remember the magic underwear in the catalog, but we never did get any. And I got out of the church shortly thereafter. I got baptized in the church, even though I'd been going to the Mormon church off and on since I was a little kid. I didn't get baptized until I think I was 15 or 16. And then once I got baptized, then I started doing things like baptizing for the dead. went down to the Los Angeles Mormon Temple, where we went down. You change into these garments, holy garments of some sort, and you walk out to this big baptismal thing. It's really eerie. You walk out. It's on this big. There's like a big catwalk that goes out to this big kind of stainless steel baptismal thing, and it's like the reason there's a catwalk is because all around you there's like this big pit. It's almost like there's a big pit that goes to hell or something. I don't know. But you walk out on this kind of catwalk. It has a railing and everything, but you walk out and it's in the middle. It's this big, really weird thing. And then they baptize you. They read off, for me, it was all these people who had died, who had lived and died. I think they were from England, speaking of England, but they would have their birth dates and their death dates. And it was all from the ones I did were all from the like mid 1700s. It's like a list of like 100 or 200 names. It takes a while. They have to read off all these names, and then they baptize me, the person, like in the name of all those people. And I guess according to the Mormons, all of those people are waiting. And I don't know if I forget. I've forgot all the Mormon lingo. I don't know if it's purgatory or if it's just some waiting area, but they're all waiting because it's not the end of the world yet, and Judgment Day hasn't really come yet. So they're just waiting. But if you get baptized in their name, and then you go, you dry off, you change back into your other clothes, and then you go down this kind of like the Shining kind of a hallway. I kid you not. There's all these doors, and then you walk down and you go into this other room, and then there's these dudes. They're like bishops and from the church or whatever, and you sit in a chair, and then they put their hands on your head, and then they have to do the confirmation. So they read the entire list, the 200 names or whatever it is, and they confirm. That's the confirmation of the baptizing. And then once that's done, then apparently, I don't know, the Holy Spirit or something delivers the message to the people up in the waiting room and the heaven waiting room or whatever, and they tell them, yeah, you've just been baptized into the Mormon Church. Do you accept or reject? I guess they still have the choice to accept or reject it. And of course, I remember thinking, like, if that's the way it works, then of course you're going to accept it because you know that it's all true, and because you're sitting there in the waiting room, and no one's going to not take that because you know that it's true, right? But the reason that in this real life that we live in, we don't know if anything is true about an afterlife. Anyhow. Oh, so what was I talking about? So I did the baptizing thing. So I did that, and then they would send me out with an older elder who wasn't really he's like in his 30s or something, but an older, his title is elder, I think. And me, and I my title was, I'm just, I don't know, choir boy. I wasn't choir boy, whatever it was. They send you out to pick up tithing from people who I knew didn't look like they could afford it. So that turned me off. The baptizing for the dead turned me off. And I ended up just leaving within like a year or two. I was like, I'm done with this weird fucking church. This doesn't seem right. So anyhow, so that's that. I people yesterday says all those people are dead. TJ, they baptize for the dead. Not even Mormons, right? They're not Mormons. They're. That's the whole point of it, is to get non-Mormons to be baptized into the church, even in death. Mr. Spock, it's mandatory for Jewish men to leave a tip to the church. Yeah, whatever. Is someone knocking at their door? Is there someone from the Jewish temple knocking on their door going, hey, we noticed you haven't left any tips lately? Maybe there are. I don't know. Brooklyn says, I had to read that a few times. I don't know what that was about. Darkly Yours says, I got baptized like 6 times as a kid. They must have thought I was a demon, but they don't believe in autism, I've learned. DPD says, has anyone seen Don Lemon's interview with Ashley St. Clair? She was spilling all the tea, honey, and lemon on Musk, MAGA, and the Heritage Foundation and Project Esther. I have not seen that. Is she actually spilling tea, or is she just being sort of vague and unclear, like she was when she was with Hassan Piker? I didn't think we learned anything from that. It just seemed like she wanted to hook up with Hassan. I mean, I don't know. Big Hook says Mitt Romney, the vulture capitalist who broke up functional companies and sold for parts, is a Mormon. Yeah, he was a Mormon bishop. He probably still is a Mormon bishop. I told yesterday, underwear or temple garb. No, they have underwear that you're supposed to wear like 24/7, even when you take a shower. I kid you not. You're supposed to wear that shit even when you take a shower. Look it up, man. If you don't believe me. Even if you go swimming or whatever, you're supposed to wear that shit. Michelle, church is a cult. All churches or just the Mormon church? Because quite frankly, I think all churches, all religions are just all man-made. There is no divinity. A lot of people like to just shit on Christianity and Abrahamic religions, but I think that they're all made up. I'm not saying that they're all shitty, but they're all man-made. Taiwan is here. Hey, Taiwan, good to see you. Says, how are you doing? Well, how are you doing in Taiwan? Taiwan says, I'm half Vietnamese, half Khmer, and half Mexican, born in China and raised in Laos. Yes, I know 3 halves equals 150%, but I am also Amish. Thus, we do everything normal people do plus 50%. Is that weird? Well, it's very, very unique. Let's just put it that way. It sounds like you have a very unique background. Big Hook says religion is a delusional choice to believe in make. DPD says churches should be taxed. Yeah, because they've abused that non-tax status, right? Mr. Spock says atheist Scott Adams turned to Jesus in the end. Speaking of ends, laughing my ass off. What a day for him to get anal cancer. Scott Adams got anal cancer? I don't even know who Scott Adams is. I hope he gets better. I hope he beats it, okay? I don't even know who he is. iPeople yesterday says churches were taxed at one time. I think LBJ was the one to make them tax exempt if they stayed out of preaching politics. Really? So it was LBJ, huh? That we have to thank for that. Brooklyn says Mr. Spock meant the tip of the circumcised penis. Oh, okay. Well, you know, sometimes jokes don't translate to postings. Big Hook also saying he's referring to the circumcision. But there you go. You got a drum sting, Mr. Spock. All right. Nick Rich 20 past the hour, so I'm only 3 little tiny little itty bitty teensy weensy little minutes behind. Jolie says all religions are hot garbage. I know Jolie is a steadfast, dare I say, atheist? DPD says, TJ, it has to do with the Talmud. It has something to do with Jerusalem innkeepers. I don't know what we're talking about. Tithing? About tithing? Michelle says, Mormon definitely, because when I was younger, they said no caffeine. Then Mormon Church bought Coke and it was okay. You mean, did they buy like Coke stock? Because I don't think they own Coke outright. They probably bought Coke stock. Just like they bought IBM and everything else. But I still see the hypocrisy. I still see the hypocrisy there, Michelle. I don't think the Mormons own Coke, but they probably own millions of shares or whatever, or however many shares. I don't know. And so I do see the hypocrisy. If drinking caffeinated beverages like Coca-Cola and coffee are so not just bad for you, but that is in their doctrine. That is in the Book of Mormon, I believe, or at least, if not the Book of Mormon, I think actually it was in one of the, because Joseph Smith wrote, besides writing the Book of Mormon, which he did write, he claims it was that he translated these golden, what do you call them, plaques or whatever, that he was able to translate them, and he's claiming that. But then he also wrote Pearls of Great Price, Pearls of Great Price, and Doctrine and Covenants, I think, and I think there was another one, and probably in the DNC, that's probably where the caffeine thing is, and they count those books, the Mormons, as all being doctrine and like holy doctrine and books that you're supposed to follow. And so it's in their church rules or whatever to not drink caffeinated beverages. In case you don't know, I mean, some of you probably know that. And so for them to invest in Coca-Cola or any other caffeinated beverage company is a complete 100% hypocritical thing. You're absolutely right, Michelle. Taiwan says, actually, Robert Pierpont, just joking around. You motherfucker. I'm just kidding. Hello, Taiwan, Robert Pierpont. Robert Pierpont. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. DPD says the oldest religion is Hinduism. I really don't know much about Hindus other than aren't they the ones that think cows are sacred or something, and they don't eat the cows, and they let the cows run around, and that's all. I think that's about all I know about Hindus. And I don't really care about. I don't care about the Hindus any less or more than I care about Mormons or Catholics or Protestant Christians. I'm kind of with Jolie. They're all hot. What was it? Hot shit or something? Not hot shit. They're hot garbage. But I do pray because I'm a human being, and I pray to Jesus because I'm a human being. Because it feels good. It feels like, it gives me hope. And I do feel like prayers have been answered. But I still think that it's all made up. So sue me. Josh Sees is here. Always good to see Josh Sees in the driver's lounge. Josh Sees says, quietly sharpens flint knives. I don't even know what that means. Oh, Mr. Spock says Scott Adams. I'm supposed to know who because I know this has come up before about Dilbert. Now I remember, and I think you guys gave me shit about it 6 months ago when I didn't know who drew Dilbert. Who gives a shit about Dilbert and Scott Adams? Anyhow, Mr. Spock, Scott Adams drew Dilbert comic strip. He was an evil human, very racist. I remember reading Dilbert, and I always thought Dilbert was funny. I mean, back in the day, like way back in the 70s or whatever. Anyhow, I got to get some water. I drank that coffee, chock full of nuts, very good coffee. But now I'm very thirsty. So, un momento, por favor. Let me go get a bottle of water. Because I'm getting thirsty. All right. Got me some water. YouTube, it's so funny. It just went automatically to something. It's playing the movie Cannonball 2. Just kind of random. It's got, right now, Ricardo Montalban and Jamie Farr and what's that guy's name? Doug McClure, I think, that are in the scene right now. Plastique. Aaron West is back. Jolie is here. So you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? You know what that means, right? It means that we are officially at full mod capacity. Full mod capacity. We're at full mod capacity. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jolie, so much for being here. The best mods in the squad. I do appreciate you guys. Thanks for all your help. For monitoring this motley crew of 24 people. All right, so that's the swamp with we got the things with the things. Here's another meme I found. MAGA will believe that the reflecting pool was vandalized with no video proof, but deny an insurrection happened when it was on live television. These people are cult fanatics. Am I right? Or whoever wrote that? Are they right? They're right. That's from Occupy Democrats. They'll believe all kinds of shit. Whatever shit comes out of Trump's mouth, they'll believe. The reflecting pool is under 24/7, 365 video monitoring, surveillance. Trump claims that they have people. They've caught people who are vandalizing the pool. He's full of shit. Michelle says, tax the mega churches. Yeah, I think once you have a Joel Osteen or any of those fuckers that have multi-million-dollar mansions and they're flying around in multi-million-dollar jets to go on vacations or trips all around the world and they're not being taxed, Something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. Now, I don't mind if they're putting their money. Okay, yeah, get yourself a house. You can get yourself a nice house, have a nice car, so you can run around in town. But you're not gonna. You shouldn't be buying mansions, and you shouldn't be buying jets. You should be putting that money to helping feed the poor, and clothe the poor, and house the poor. That's where your fucking money should be going. Joel Osteen, you piece of shit. All of them. Fuck them. All those. Just go watch the fucking Righteous Gemstones on HBO. My only criticism really with the Righteous Gemstones is they didn't go far enough with that story. I mean, they made them too likable, especially at the end. They made it where you kind of like them. Because it's a comedy, I guess. But they need to do a Righteous Gemstones that's more like a fucking Secession, or more like, just a little more gritty drama. They need a gritty drama, Righteous Gemstones, that really exposes. Because when they make it like a comedy, then everyone just thinks, it doesn't really happen in real life because it's just a comedy. It's just like a satire and it's just funny. But they need to make like a gritty drama, Righteous Gemstones, where they really expose these motherfuckers. And go ahead and just use Joel Osteen's name. And if he wants to sue, let him sue. Say, bring it on, motherfucker. You can sue, and we'll get all your shit in discovery of all the grifting and all the money that you take from people to build your mansions. That's what I got to say about that. Damn it, Janet. Did I mention that Rocky Horror Picture Show is going to be after they're done with The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere? I guess sometime next year, Rocky Horror Picture Show will be coming. Would you guys be interested in that? Are there any Rocky Horror Picture Show midnight movie madness goers that went to that? I probably just went to that like 3 or 4 times. I was not like we only did it really. I thought the whole thing was kind of stupid. I only did it because you're just hoping to meet a girl. Really, Big Hook says, you realize schmuck is the circumcision throwaway Jewish term insult. Are you talking about the foreskin that they cut off? That's the schmuck? Mr. Spock says Scott Adams was also a trained, I guess, hypnotist. Jolie says golden plates, none of which have ever been found. Yeah, none of them were ever found. Yeah, it was all bullshit. But I got to give him credit. I mean, he did write. Joseph Smith wrote this really long book that was very much patterned after the Bible in the way he wrote it and everything. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he could have been a good fiction writer. He should have put that energy into being a, who of the time would he have been? Whatever, I don't know. The guy who wrote Moby Dick. Taiwan says Hinduism does not push their religion. Much like Buddhists, they are nothing like Christians in that matter. Well, that's true. And I've heard people, talking about that, about how it's only the Christians that do that, and that may or may not be true as far as this evangelizing, but it does say in the Bible, in the New Testament, it does say to tell everyone about the good news. The good news is that Jesus Christ rose from the dead, that Jesus Christ defeated death. And you can too, if you believe in Christ. And if you ask Christ to come into your heart, ask him to forgive you of your sins, and that you will follow Jesus. That's the good news. That's the whole thing about becoming saved, becoming born again. And in the Bible, it does say, and there's a few places where it says to shout it from the rooftops, to let everyone know about it. So that's what they do. It's in the Bible. So if you got any problems with it, take it up with the Bible. Big Hook says South Park creators have truly mocked the Mormons and Scientologists the most. Their play was on Broadway for, I don't know if it's still there or not, probably not, but for many years, The Book of Mormon, right? Wasn't that on Broadway? I heard it's really good. I've wanted to go see it, and I do believe that they have a production of it somewhere on the Strip or somewhere in Vegas. There is a production of The Book of Mormon. I would love to go see it. Jolie says he melted them down to smear all over the Oval Office. Oh wait, what? People says Jolie, Trump has them hidden away somewhere. You talking about the golden plates? And so Jolie says, yeah, all that gold shit you see all over, I guess, yeah, he melted down the golden plates. Mr. Spock says until Adams opened his mouth, he became an a-hole. Yeah, all I know about Dilbert is I remember reading it back in the day when we used to read newspapers, and there was comics, funnies, and comics, and I remember reading him, and I would chuckle. I think Dilbert made me. And in fact, I think I even cut out one time and hung it on my bulletin board or something. Michelle says Uno is a fun card game. I used to play that with my friends. Uno, yep. Especially my Christian friends. See, I had Christian friends that were like really into the church, and then I had my party friends, and we would go out and party. And they were kind of like two distinct groups. And my Christian friends, we played a lot of Uno. Because that's what you do. You have some punch, and the mom brings out some cookies, and you play Uno. You know? That's what you do with your Christian friends. Darkly Yours says Gumpf is playing colorblind Uno. Jolie says we've been officially at full mod capacity the entire show, minus the 10 whole minutes Aaron was just gone for. Okay, Jolie, but I had to make sure. Because what if I had done that during that 10 minutes? Boy, would I have been embarrassed. If I had done the full mod capacity thing during that 10 minutes. Man, oh man, I would be so embarrassed. Mr. Spock says, Jolie is correct. Darkly Yours says, they are the most worthless people on the planet. I wouldn't touch them with a 10.5-foot pole. You talking about the TV evangelists, Darkly Yours, maybe? Darkly Yours, mega preachers are MAGA preachers. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right about that. Brooklyn says that he never mentions Jesus. Jesus. Darkly Yours says, if there is a hell, Osteen has a special room waiting. Taiwan says, Darkly Yours because mega preachers are secretly authoritarian types of people. I think they're just money grabbing whores, is what I think they are. They see a way of getting lots of money. Go watch the Royal Gemstones. At least the first season, the first couple episodes of the Royal Gemstones. I think it shows, and it's probably exaggerated, but they're making so much money. They're like stuffing it into the ceilings. They're just stuffing it. They're getting so much cash. They're like it reminds me of was it Narco or where about the drug cartels and about what's his face? Was he Colombian or whatever? And They had so much cash, they were just sticking it in like 30-gallon drums and burying it because they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know where to put it. They had so much fucking cash from their drug sales. That's what reminded me of the Royal Gemstones. They had so much fucking cash, they're like stuffing it everywhere they could stuff it. Jolie says, I'd love to see the Rocky Horror at the Sphere. Okay. My first reaction was like, really? But then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, yeah, it could probably be cool if they do it right and they allow the audience participation part of it, you know? DPD says the Hindus have a firm belief in Dharma. Remember Dharma, was it Dharma and Greg? Anyhow, in Dharma, which leads to the good life. Is it karma or kama? Anyhow, represents pursuing pleasure. Moksha creates enlightenment, which helps the soul to overcome suffering. It's probably very spiritual and about operating in a way that isn't harmful to other people, right? Aaron West says, I used to go to Rocky Horror every week when I was 17, 18 years old. Darkly Yours, let's do the time warp again. It's just It's just a step to the left or whatever. Mr. Spock, I thought it was putts. Brooklyn says L. Ron Hubbard is a science fiction writer, or he was. I don't think he's with us any longer. He was I think a failed, unsuccessful science fiction writer. So he turned his science fiction into Dianetics or some shit, and into this Scientology religion, and became very immensely wealthy off of that. I guess you got to do what you got to do. Oh yeah, Jolie, it's just a jump to the left and then a step to the right. Yeah, that's a good song. Darkly Yours says, you do not have the religious freedom to, I guess, harass me with your invisible friend. No, that's true. You shouldn't be allowed to harass people. But I also think you have a First Amendment right to share your views about your religion. Mr. Spock says, Darkly Yours says, yeah, Scott Adams turned out to be a douche. Mr. Spock says, as long as it wasn't a Ziggy. I don't know what that means. At TJ. Oh, the Ziggy comic. Ziggy was a comic thingy too, right? Yeah, I think I remember vaguely that too. DPD says this regime is using. We're over 2 hours. Just checking the time there. Says this regime is using the classic abusers tactics known as Darvo Denny. Attack, reverse, victimize, and offender. They subject this upon the world every fucking day. I don't know what Darvo means. Oh, is that the acronym? Oh, Darvo. So I guess it stands for deny, attack, reverse, victimize, and offender. Okay, wow. I've never heard that before. Darvo. Did you just make that up, DPD, or is this something that's been around, this acronym? Brooklyn SJU, Trixie LaRue says, Kathy was a good comic strip if you're a woman. I remember Kathy. I liked Kathy. Mr. Spock, Calvin and Hobbes. I like Calvin and Hobbes. Brooklyn, The Far Side. Absolutely. Somewhere in my stuff, I think it might be in the garage in Lancaster. I have a whole book of the Far Side, of Far Side comics, comic strips or whatever. An entire book this thick. It's probably in a box somewhere in Lancaster. Mr. Spock, Marmaduke. I like Marmaduke. Pogo, yeah, I vaguely remember Pogo. I think Pogo was funny. Michelle says, did you hear about the reflection pool? They are fixing it for free, so pool guy says no vandalism. I did not hear about them fixing it for free. Is it like a money back guarantee? Because I think whether he got paid or actually received the payment, he was hired, I think, for millions of dollars. Trump's buddy. Maybe they're doing work now on it free because there was like maybe there's a warranty period or something. I don't know. Darkly Yours, Marmaduke is the work of. Are you trying to say Satan or I don't know. Nick Rich got a family call. All right, Nick, thanks for being here. You're probably gone already, but thanks for the time that we got you for. Have a good call. Aaron West says it's just they jump to the left and then they step to the right. Yep. Darkly Yours says I always took the comics from my grandparents' paper. Yeah, I always looked forward to the Sunday funnies, and then during the week there would be they would put some, like the Sunday fun days were funny. The Sunday funnies were usually, in color, and then during the week there would be some other little comic strips, and they were usually black and white. I'm telling you what, that water's going down good. Mr. Spock says, that's it. I'm going outside. Okay. You do that. You go outside, Mr. Spock. Josh sees BC was a decent comic. I liked BC. I liked Hagar the Horrible. Darkly Yours Far Side calendars were a part of my childhood. I think I probably had a Far Side calendar or two. Mr. Spock, Andy Capp. I remember Andy Capp. Brooklyn says, I had a calendar of Far Side. People yesterday says, because I'm a grumpy cat, I enjoy Garfield. I used to enjoy Garfield. And Odie. Josh C says, my grandma used to save the Sunday comics for Xmas wrapping paper. There you go. Darkly Yours says, no, I specifically meant Satan, because Satan is real and is also a lie. Okay. All right, if you say so. DPD says, no, I didn't. I was asking if DPD had made up that acronym, DARVO. And DPD says, no, I didn't, TJ. It's something asshole abusers do to their victims, which happens to be the world right now. All righty. Brooklyn says, I wonder what happened to Gary Larson. He just wanted to stop doing the Far Side. I don't know. Darkly Yours says, Garfield comes from my hometown. Jolie says, Garfield is awesome. I always liked Garfield. People just says, Josh sees we did that for birthday wrapping. I've done that a few times. Used the comic strip for wrapping. I've done that. It wasn't like a tradition that I did it for everything, but there's times I've done that when I didn't have any wrapping paper. Josh C says, Brooklyn, I think he still plays jazz saxophone in the Pacific Northwest. Remember, who was the other one? I think turned out to be an asshole, but I like Doonesbury. I think he might have died, right? The guy who did Doonesbury. But I remember I liked Doonesbury. I thought that was a very funny comic. You know, it was like satire. It was wasn't it like a lot of sort of political satire or whatever? But then he kind of turned out to be an asshole at the end. I don't know. But I liked it. I remember liking. In fact, I might have had a book on Doonesbury too. I think I had a Peanuts book with a bunch of Peanuts comic strips. I think I had. Pretty sure I had the Far Side. I think, or whatever we said earlier, and I might have had a Doonesbury one. Doonesbury. Michelle says works great and saves money. What was that? What saves money? What did I miss? About the pool, fixing the pool? I don't know. Dark Leader says, "Hey TJ, say Zatu Verata." Nick cough. Okay, whatever. Is that a spell? Did I just cast a spell on something? Dark Leaders, it would make me laugh. I'm not gonna do it, Darkly Yours. I don't want to be responsible for causing something bad. Oh, Gary Trudeau, yeah, or not? Was it Gary Trudeau? But Mr. Fuss Trudeau drew it for Doonesbury. It was Doonesbury Trudeau. I think so. Brooklyn SJU Trixie LaRue says I was on a tour somewhere in the woods, and they showed us a little cabin where Charles Schultz came to write Peanuts. Well, was that in Minnesota? Wasn't Charles Schultz from Minnesota? I think Charles Schultz might have been from Minnesota for some reason. Oh, The Evil Dead, Darkly. Yeah, okay. I knew that was from something. Yeah, I don't want to unleash the Evil Dead. No. I don't want to do that. Darkly Yours. I don't give a fuck what any of you tree-hugging liberals say. I love Crystal Geyser water. Okay. DPD says, TJ, with the money you'll be saving on your Medicare expenses, you could start yourself a nice vacation club account or a high-yield savings account. I'll probably be paying down some bills I have at first. Oh, Brooklyn says upstate New York or Pennsylvania. Can't remember. Mr. Fox says the baby barn was swallows and flying around playing. What's the baby barn? The baby barn swallows? The baby barn swallows are flying around playing. So I guess you have some swallows that are flying. About 8 of them. Okay, must be nice. Must be nice seeing the swallows this time of year. Isn't it the swallows that go to San Juan Capistrano? San Juan Capistranos in California. I've been there. I remember being there as a kid, and even as an adult. I think it's swallows. That didn't sound right. The birds, I think, are called swallows that go to San Juan Capistrano. Google it, folks. Google it if you don't know. I know you folks that are not from California probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. There's a California mission in what is now the town of San Juan Capistrano. They have a mission there, an old Spanish mission, and it's still there. And every year, at least they used to. I don't know if global warming or something or pollution has changed that, but the swallows I believe it was swallows, if I remember correctly, would, during their migration, I guess, they would always stop at San Juan Capistrano. And it was a thing. It was like a touristy thing to go and see it. And we did. a couple times. Brooklyn says savings accounts don't yield anything anymore. Yeah, I mean, I've got an Apple savings account that I think they've lowered it. I think the reason I opened that was I think it was like 4% interest, and I think they've lowered it a couple times since then to now it's in the threes. My Capital One savings they have I think a 3 point something percent. Yeah, it's not very much, but it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Darkly yours, you're thinking sparrows. No, I don't think it's the annual sparrows. No, it's swallows. Go look it up. Google it just Google San Juan just Google Mission San Juan Capistrano. They're not going to say sparrows. It's going to be swallows. Brooklyn says I had to throw away a couple of bins of books that got soaked from the water supply line. That blue there was definitely some old comic books in there. That sucks. That sucks, Josh. By the way, how's the theater going for old Josh? How are your theater days going? Brooklyn SJUK Trix LaRue says it must sound better than it actually was. I peopled. Josh She says I filled up my 4-yard dumpster in one day and probably gonna fill it halfway again. Darkly Yours says, laughing out loud, I have 3 cards and they are all currently locked for fraud. That must be a typo. What do you mean you have 3 cards that are locked for fraud? I don't even know what that means. So I'm thinking that's a typo of some sort. Josh sees final performances this Sunday. So anyone that's in the greater Denver area or wherever, where I forget where Josh is. No, Buffalo. I think. Anyone in the greater Buffalo area, please. You only have until this Sunday to see these great performances by the great Josh Sees and the troupe. Go check them out. Darkly Earth primarily refers to the cliff swallows that migrate to Mission San Juan Capistrano. See, it's not sparrows. In California, a tradition celebrated annually on St. Joseph's Day, March 19th. Mr. Spock says barn swallows haven't been around here for 30 years. Then they came back about 3 years ago. Wow. I wonder how they got off their track, because that's probably a migration type of a thing. I wonder what happened. 30 years ago, someone took a different route, and then the next batch just took the same route, and then finally someone figured it out. Like, wait a minute, I think we're supposed to go over here. I think we're supposed to go over here to Mr. Spock's place. I don't know. Darkly Yours says debit credit is what I meant. Oh, I forget why I said that. Oh, you have 3 debit cards, and they are currently locked for fraud. That doesn't help anything. What do you mean they're currently locked for fraud? Are you committing fraud? Oh, you mean you've got them locked? Okay, I get it. You can lock your things out so no one else can use it, I think is what you meant. Okay. You're not committing fraud. You're trying to prevent people from committing fraud on you or by illegally using your cards, I think is what you meant. See? Just give me enough time. I'm a little slow on the uptake, but I'll eventually figure it out. DPD says maybe debit or credit cards are locked. Yeah, I think we're figuring it out, DPD. Yeah, you can freeze your cards or whatever as a safety measure, which is a good thing to do. That's a good thing. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day. It's 12 o'clock. You're probably watching something else by now, aren't you? Let's take off Cannonball Run 2. Oh yeah, BB's on. And he's got John Fetterman on again. We love to bash old Fetterman, don't we? John Fetterman is an asshole. He's a piece of shit. If he's running again, I hope he gets primaried. I really do. And I hope that whoever they primary him with, and I hope he wins, and I hope he's good enough to beat whatever Republican they're going to put up in Pennsylvania. But Fetterman needs to go. He's a piece of shit. And that's who BB's talking about. Also talking about communists win elections. Okay, for one thing, Democratic Socialists are not communists. Tim Pool. He's got Tim Pool. So fuck you, Tim Pool, and all your Russia money. Hey, Tim Pool, if you're watching this, if you ever watch this, Tim Pool, why don't you take all your Russia money, which was a lot. You got a lot of fucking Russia money. Why don't you take that fucking money, roll it up, and shove it up your ass, and fuck off. Okay, Tim Pool? Democratic Socialists are not communists, so fuck off. Democratic Socialists are really just Democrats. This is a way to bring this full circle. We started the show talking about this. Let's end the show talking about this. I've been a lifelong Democrat. I've just been a Democrat my whole life because I've always thought of the Democratic Party as being the party that is for the working person, the working class. And I've always thought of the Republican Party as really just working for, at that time, just millionaires. And now it's billionaires, and now it's trillionaires. That's who they are working for. And I've always thought of the Democratic Party as being the party that works for us common people. I grew up in a working class family. To me, when I see people who claim to be Democratic Socialists like Bernie Sanders, I know AOC, I don't know if she calls herself a Democratic Socialist. I think she just calls herself a progressive. I don't know. I forget. But people like Mondami, people like the folks that won those New York primaries yesterday, they call themselves Democratic Socialists. All I see are Democrats because they're for the same things that I'm for. I'm for universal health care, single-payer universal health care. I'm for worker rights. I'm for higher wages. I'm for making things more affordable. I'm for making very expensive cities like New York City become more affordable for more people. I'm for educational opportunities. I'm for lowering costs of education and costs of higher education. I'm for a Green New Deal. I'm for environmental progress. I'm for getting us off of fossil fuels. I'm for all that shit. So whether you call yourself a Democratic Socialist, whether you call yourself a progressive, whether you call yourself a liberal, or whether you just call yourself a plain old Democrat, to me, all of those labels should be for all of those things that I just mentioned. So it doesn't really matter. This is not communism. This is not old, Eastern Europe socialism. And people, assholes like Tim Pool, who have taken Russia money, lots of it, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, are just trying to use these kind of scare tactics and use that big scary word. And socialism is becoming more and more acceptable. So they can't call it socialism. They have to call it communism. So once again, Tim Pool, Take all that Russia, Putin money, shove it up your ass, motherfucker. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. If you'd be so kind, if you haven't already, to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Trying to get to 5,000. We're at 4,500. Let's do this. Hey, that's a rousing speech you made there, Trucker John. I really like it when you tell someone to shove something up their ass. You know, it kind of brings a little tear to my eye. You know, I really feel like maybe I'm rubbing off on you in the right kind of way. You know what I mean? You know, I'm right there with you. All those Russia fucking lovers, Candace Owens and Bend Over Johnson and you know, Tim Pool, all those assholes. You know, they should just move to Russia. They love Russia so much. Fuck them. Fuck all of them. I would tell them to shove it up their ass, but you stole that line from me, or so it just doesn't have the same impact. But yeah, man, you really said it all right there. I have to agree, you know, and I try to look at things on the positive side, but I got to agree. Yeah, you know, if they're going to take Russia money, then like Tim Pool and I think Candace Owens took Russia money, right? Then you got to really, whatever they say, you have to look at it with a jaundiced eye, I believe is the term. I don't know what it means. I mean, I think I know what it means. I just don't know what it means. But with a jaundiced eye, I will be whatever they say. In other words, they had no credibility because they've been bought off by Russia. Tim Pool and those folks bought off by Russia. Russia. Anyhow, guys, thanks for being here. We all appreciate you. Me, Tough Cookie, Trucker John, we appreciate you for being here. Thank you guys so much. And I hope we see you on the next one. And again, if you like the show, or even if you don't like the show, what does it hurt to subscribe? That answer, nothing. It doesn't hurt anything. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Purple Power. All right, Purple Beard Guy, Tough Cookie, thanks for making your little appearances, contractually obligated appearances. I do appreciate you for doing that. Okay, that's it for today. Today's Thursday. We'll be back Saturday, right after the Hal Sparks radio show, mega worldwide Hal Sparks show thingy. We'll come on around 11 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday. I hope you guys will come back and hang out. And tell the other sparklers. I know there's some sparklers in here. Tell them to come. You know, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the whole reason I chose a 9 a.m. ish starting time is because that's, you know, a lot of people are up at 9 a.m. ready to watch Hal Sparks on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. So if that's part of your regular listening schedule, 9 a.m. Pacific time, tell the other sparklers, come on in. If for no other reason than to just come into the chat and you guys can hang out amongst each other and you can just ignore me and you can just have your own little thing. So spread the word. Tell the sparklers to come on in to the Trucker John live stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays, Thursdays, 9 a.m. I try that as close as I can. And Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Right after Hal Sparks. All right, so we'll see you then. In the meantime, guys, just hang in there. Make sure you vote. Go to vote.org. Check your registration. If you're in a blue state that the Postmaster General says he's not going to deliver your ballots, if the state doesn't hand over voter rolls, be on the lookout for that. Write your governor, your state attorney general, your state, whatever, your local dog catcher. Write somebody. Write, call, do something. Let's stay on top of that issue. That's going to be one we need to watch. And again, if you see my videos, give them a like. Go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section and hit the share button. That'd be great. We're trying to get to 5,000. 5,000. We are at 40. We're at 4,500. I think I got all the memes up. But I only had those two. So I think we got everything there. And I'll see you guys. All that's left to do is words of wisdom. Almost forgot about the words of wisdom. But guys, make sure if you want to write this down, go ahead. I'll give you a couple seconds to get a pen and a paper to write this down. You guys ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I said, are you ready? Are you ready for the words of wisdom? Okay, so today's words of wisdom, quite fittingly, kind of go with today's topic.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love, it's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Sad, and I don't cry. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long for evil men to die. But I want you to know that when you go, you won't be missed. And the ground where you'll lay, we're all gonna take a big giant piss. And for your end, we all anticipate, without any love and too exhausted to hate. Your long-lasting legacy will be one of disgrace and shame throughout the annals of history. Your name will shrink, you'll lose your fame. And as you lay there drawing in your final breath, just know that you made us happiest in death. You will not be thought of kindly, and you won't be missed. And like I said before, on the ground you'll lay, I'm gonna take a big old piss.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.